It was a little extra hard tonight because you were having a good time talking with each other.
It's a party in here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. I call the meeting to order. I declare McCore members are present and the meeting has been notified. For the record, Ms. Littleton is on the telephone. She's en route. She will be here shortly. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
We have a motion from Mr. Ramsey, a second from
Sure. Second.
Ms. Tanner to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion is approved by a vote of 6-0. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting of September 28, 2021?
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan.
Ramsey.
Mr. Ramsey, excuse me. And I need a second. Mr. McQuillan with the second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of approving the minutes of the board meeting of September 28, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 6-0. I need a motion to enter into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Mr. Ramsey to enter into executive session. The stated purposes of executive session are to be discussion of employment, appointment, assignment, demotion, discipline, or release of an employee or employees as needed. 2C, a legal update regarding a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by attorney-client privilege. Also, 2E, or is it D? The 2 out-of-district appeals for students that are out of district and wanting to come into Berkeley County, and also 4 expulsion appeals. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of entering into executive session, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? Thank you, Ms. Littleton. We are in executive session by a vote of 6-0. We'll see. Just a couple of minutes late. Not too bad, huh? Ladies and gentlemen, is there a motion to return to regular session?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
from Ms. Tanner, a second. Ms. Littleton, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of returning to regular session, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? For the record, is Ms. Wofford on the phone?
No.
We need to, we'll text her or get her on the phone.
Are you there? Okay, sure.
I suppose we need to vote again. All in favor of return to regular session, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Guys have it unanimously, a vote of 9-0. We are in regular session. And for the record, no action was taken in executive session. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lord in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever. Thank you. Please be seated. The next agenda item is citizens' comments. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comment that do not adhere to the guidelines. Our first speaker is Dr. Chris Hanley. Welcome, Dr. Hanley. His concern or comment is public comments.
Mr. Barrow, members of the board, Mr. Jackson, good to see you all again. You know, there's been a troubling trend recently with canceling the speech of so many people in this country. We see it on social media, we see it in organizations, and now we had, and I'm sure you're all aware, a couple of weeks ago, the National School Board Association petitioned the federal government to start looking into and prosecuting citizens who came and made comments that they deemed to be offensive or threatful. I didn't hear any threats in most of those comments, though. You know, free speech and being able to petition your government is something that has been long held in most Western societies. I mean, we go all the way back to the 1200s when you look at the Magna Carta. That actually was produced in as an answer to people who were complaining about their government. Fast forward a few hundred years, we get to the British Bill of Rights, 100 years before ours. They gave the right to be able to petition the sovereign, and it made it illegal to prosecute or to commit anyone who made those kind of comments. You know, we look to our own Constitution, which initially did not have a Bill of Rights. It wasn't until a couple years later that that was ratified. And in our Bill of Rights, everyone knows in the First Amendment that we get the right to speech. The First Amendment actually has 5 rights guaranteed, and one of which is the right to petition your government concerning grievances. You know, we look forward to Supreme Court cases. In the 1964 landmark Supreme Court case, New York Times via Sullivan, the Justice Brennan, writing for a unanimous court, and I'll paraphrase, essentially said, free speech is free, we need to keep it free, and it gets ugly sometimes, but that doesn't mean we should suppress it just because it gets ugly. Amen, it's right. So I've heard a lot of folks here come and disagree, and I've been one of them who has disagreed with policies of the board or various other things. I haven't heard anyone make any threats in this room, and I would be strongly against that. I would request that this board, every member of this board, make a strong statement to continue what you've been doing. You've been doing a great job of allowing free speech. And even Ms. Tanner, I remember you asked the crowd to quiet down so that you could hear the speech, even though you weren't happy with some of the things that were being said. Awesome. Kudos to all of you. But I would ask for a strong statement from this board affirming your commitment to free speech in this room.
Thank you, Dr. Hanley. That's well said. And, just a brief comment. I think you will attest to the fact that, a couple of months ago we had 40 speakers and all speakers were heard and given their due time as much as possible. So no one on this board is willing to go down what's happening in other areas of this country, Dr. Hanley. The next speaker is Tony Sims on accurate history. Welcome, Mr. Sims.
I'll try to keep it brief today. I'd like to first thank you for saying that, and you're right. We do get heated debates, disagreements, but not once did we get violent with that way. We never threaten anybody, and I'm very proud to be a part of a community that believes in that. With that being said, what I wanted to talk about was we just celebrated Indigenous People Day for the first time yesterday. That's acknowledging that we were historically inaccurate in some things with Christopher Columbus. So that made me think about what indoctrination actually is. Would that not mean that we were indoctrinated for so long before we finally came to this conclusion? And what other things in our curriculum is like that in history? Recently, we had an issue in our school district that was racially insensitive. And regardless of the investigation or how that played out, there was someone who was distressed by that. That person brought it up to social media, talked about it, and we have currently a provisional budget that is talking about a provision that says that any psychological distress from a racially education class, therefore you can threaten to lose your money and your funding for that situation. I've sat here for the past 8-9 months, saw many parents come up here and talk about hypothetical children's feelings on a situation with critical race theory and or culturally relative teaching. And we have a situation here that has been made public, and we're being told, some people who showed up to this meeting, that they were insensitive, that they were seeking attention, and not once did they first acknowledge that the perceived psychological distress of that person. And I didn't see any of the groups here come up and talk about that. Mothers of Liberty, our wonderful esteemed Blexit union there, and any other groups that talk about against critical race theory. Not one of them came up saying anything about that. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Mr. Sims. Our next speaker is Katrina White. The comments will be regarding spiritual beliefs and placed back, and also bullying. Welcome, Ms. White.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. My name is Katrina White. I'm the president of Second Chance Ministry Community Outreach. I'm the daughter of Apostle Ernest L. White and Evangelist Dorothy White from Pineville, South Carolina. I'm also the previous commissioner for the town of St. Stephen. I received the citizenship award December 2018, and I'm currently operating under the Low Country Basketball Storm at 143 Hotel Street, St. Stephen, South Carolina. I was also a previous substitute teacher, which I re-registered today with Kelly Services. Second Chance Ministry promotes structured mentoring, education, vocational training, and sports program for our youth that choose to live a spiritual, godly life. I'm here today to push the need for prayer put back into the school. As a priority, more spiritual programs that should be implemented, structure, mental, spiritual, and emotional growth. To address bullying. Bullying has been a big problem in today's society, social media, school, and the community. When we have adults, officials that commit social media or cyberbullying and physical bullying, then where does that leave the community, parents, and most importantly, the children? My own children has been a victim of adults and government official bullying. I addressed the Berkeley County School District to state, definitely prayer is needed back in school. And it's just a recommendation or suggestion. I know me as a little girl, when prayer was in school, structure was in place. Spiritual beliefs, when they was in place, we performed better. You had better citizenship. I have never accumulated a criminal activity. Not judging anyone else, this is just off of the fact of my life. I'm what you call the example of having another chance when it comes to spiritual beliefs. I don't knock anybody else's spiritual belief, but on our dollar bill that says, "In God we trust." To me, that's not being shown in the education system. And I suggest, as an advocate for Christ, a youth advocate, being over a body of children, that it works. And I hope that y'all could take that in consideration and we can get that place back in school, and we'll see a lot of things in the education system change. You all are our leaders. If you don't, and I'm not, again, not judging you because I don't know your spiritual beliefs, but if our head is not there, then where does that leave the body? The head, the tail follows. So if we are adults, even when it comes to bullying, if we are allowing these bullying actions to happen, where does that leave our children? We are the example. The Bible says, train up your child into the way they're supposed to go. Right now, the act that our adults are committing is not of God. And it's not godly as a leader and as an example. And I just pray that we get back on task so our children can follow in that same manner. God bless you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Mr. Garris Davis on educational material approval. Welcome again, Mr. Davis.
Appreciate the opportunity again to be able to speak. Want to thank Superintendent Jackson for getting back to us on some questions we had from last week's customer comments, as well as Ms. Smith got back to us. That means a lot to us. Today, we're talking about educational material approval process, including e-learning process. Don't like to refer to it as curriculum because that's probably Latin. Going forward, educational material is any and everything, any kind of media, whatever, and then it's not ambiguous. Number one, and these are questions. We understand no new English and history social studies approved for the last approval period. Is that correct? If those are the books, made a quick scan and I didn't see any, but we just want to know, we're real interested in history and social studies and English. Number two, does the school board approve summer reading lists? If not, why not? We need a list for all schools in Berkeley County in time to review. If you recall, we had a problem last year. A lot of efforts were made in the citizen comments to get a list, and we got a partial list. That stuff needs to be approved by you, okay? And we need to have access to it. Number three, we're told typically annually, there's 2 months are chosen for total review process of new educational materials. Is the public notified? How and when? Number four, we understand the district uses 2 groups to review educational material. The first is a more detailed review of educational material. The second group includes the school board. When is the public included prior to each of the 4 reading approval votes at the public school board meetings? We also have credentialed educators who can make a critical review of that material. And we want to be able to do that. We're not the so-called vocal minority that gets up here and spouts off about things we don't know anything about. Number 5, are each of the 4 approval proceedings documented? If not, why not? Otherwise, how would you prove your due diligence on the materials you are responsible to approve? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Our next speaker is Crystal Gadsden, and the concern is change. Welcome, Ms. Gadsden.
Thank you. First, I'm not going to honor any of you for being in your positions. I'm going to congratulate you, for it was God that allowed you, okay, to be where you are. Second, I'm going to say to God be the glory. I did not stand at the pledge.
Could you move the mic down for us, so we can all hear?
Okay,
Thank
is that
you.
better? I did not stand at the site of the reciting of the Pledge of Allegiance because I don't pledge to anyone but God. Third, I agree with Ms. White. Her request was for prayer. That's the change that I want to see. I'm going by experience, and maybe 20 years ago, almost now, maybe almost, roughly, real rough around the edges, but it's been a little while ago. I was arrested, and I was before this board. It wasn't the people here, it was different, and I asked for them to put prayer back in school then. I said a lot of the reasons the things were happening with my child, particularly that I was in school for and disciplined and was reprimanded for disciplining, was caused by what he was getting from the outside, and it was being brought in. It was being brought into my home. A lot of it was coming from outside sources, and deterioration from what was going to happen to the children in the community in that particular area would come from us bringing prayer back to the schools. Well, it was looked over as nothing. Of course, I was looked at as crazy. Me, I kept on going. I kept on saying what I had to say, doing what I needed to do or thought I needed to do, and eventually, still, I'm standing here asking you guys for the same thing. You have a chance. You have the opportunity in front of you because you can make a decision. It's up to you to want to see our children really succeed. We started this meeting, hallelujah, God, I thank you, with a prayer, right? We did that for many reasons. Everybody had their own individual reason for praying. Give that to our children. Give them that chance, that second chance. Because we already gave them with this world, God, and it's nothing. You hear me? Absolutely nothing. But we have a chance to give our children. We control our environment. It's what we bring in and what we send out, what we accept and what we reject. It's up to you. I thank y'all. You have a good day.
Thank you, Ms. Gadsden. I think I'll make a comment on that as well. The state law requires every public school in South Carolina to begin the day with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. So children in South Carolina do have the opportunity to exercise that religious privilege in South Carolina schools. Just for your information, you may or may not have been aware of that. That is state law. The next speaker is Dr. Sheila Foster on science behind masks. Welcome back, Dr. Foster. I did. I didn't get your card stuck behind another one tonight.
And I'll pull it way down so you can hear it. We've been talking about masks, and I know those are still in a lot of parents' minds. And again, I wear one. I wear it more than probably most of you do. And in fact, I said I carry them with me, and somebody took me up on that and came out to my car and got one after the meeting last time. So, or time before last. But I did want to talk about some of the things. I tend to do research on what I'm looking at. And I looked, and if you do research, you usually try to look and see what other people have done so that you can build on theirs, you can refute theirs or whatever. But the best I can find is there have only been 2 small studies done on how masks affect children. One let the children wear the mask for 3 minutes and then take it off and compare. And the other one let them wear it for 5 minutes and take it off. We've been in a pandemic for 2 years. We have about 21,000 people at CDC, and we have 2 studies that didn't even come out of the CDC. What in the world is the matter? But there have been some things done and some observations made, and I'd kind of like to tell you about some of them. So, I think this is a parental choice, but there's a doctor, I'll start with some of them. There's a doctor who claims that there's a German study. Let me do the German study. 25,960 self-reported responses. Though not perfect, they found that it didn't seem to affect the children to wear masks, but they said that 60% were irritable, 53% reported headaches, 50% reported difficulty in concentration, 49% reported sadness. Another German study reported in JAMA Pediatrics measured base carbon dioxide levels. I told you a little bit about that last time. And this was the 3-minute study. And if you know anything about Osha regulations, you can only have 2,000 parts per million of carbon dioxide in an 8-hour period. They found that the younger the child, the more carbon dioxide they were getting. And in fact, they found that in 3 minutes, some children were getting 13,000 parts per million. That's 6 times the regular level. And so they suggested that children should not wear face masks. And they actually found one little boy, 7 years old, who got 25,000 parts per million. That is 12 and a half times what an adult is permitted in an 8-hour period at work. They'll close your work site down if you have more than that. General dentistry, long, narrow faces, narrow mouths, high palate vaults, misalignment of teeth. And this dentist who wrote this study said that children need to be taught not to suck air through their mouths. When you put your mask on, watch how you breathe.
Dr. Foster, your time has expired.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank
I'm
you
never
very
going to
much.
get through this.
See you next time. Our last speaker is Ms. Patrice Bleimeister on the change, why the differences, our kids deserve better. Welcome, Ms. Bleimeister. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Good evening, thank you. Brought some copies and want to leave with you. I've been here a couple times, actually many times, and every time I come, I address the board. Not once have I ever received a response. I do not respect a response that night, of course, but I've never received a hint of a response even weeks later, hint of it anywhere. I don't fool myself by being here tonight necessarily, but I do believe in a chain of command. My understanding of the purpose of a school board, first and foremost, is to look after the students. Education isn't a line in these, isn't just a line item, it's the school board's agenda. It's the only item. So how do you think we're doing? Berkeley County schools have dropped 11% in the last 5 years, not counting COVID. And we learned in the 2021 school year how well most kids perform while doing virtual. It was a disastrous year. Therefore, we know our children belong in the classroom. Yet schools in Berkeley County haven't learned how to keep our kids in school in light of the COVID. I know you're following the CDC and the DHEC guidance, but have anybody actually dived into the public availability data? I know that there's well, I heard that there was a COVID team, but I've never seen, so DHEC had a paper out, and it's 9/26 to 10/2, it's 1 week. Berkeley County had 19 deaths confirmed or probable, and what's the probable? Where's that come from in science? Age group, middle-aged to elderly. Based on, that was just policies and probables and possibilities. And then I look at Berkeley County, and the total deaths for this entire time has been 314. That's 275 confirmed, 36 probable. If you look closer at the numbers, though, in the graphs that I've supplied, like I do, you'll take notice that those dates that I've given are for the entire time from 3/19 to 10/6. That's 17 months of normal numbers and people that are doing everything. But the chart states that from age 11 to 20, it's less than 0.1%. They don't even give us anything from 0 to 11. But so they say the minimum age is 20 years, medium age is 72 years, maximum age is 100 years, with an average age of 70.31 for deaths. So, but what are we doing? I was told there's a COVID team, like I said. So what I'm saying here tonight, with all that said, though, is I've got grandchildren, and some go in King Bay. She was out for 5 weeks before she was able to go return. She never had a single symptom, but it was because she was possibly exposed to. Every time she was returned back, one of her sisters would be possibly exposed to. So altogether 5 weeks. But then my grandson goes to Sedgefield. He was possibly exposed to. We picked him up on a Thursday. He was able to return that Monday. That's 3 days. So the DHEC website has 2 other interesting pieces of directives, and then CDC and the DHEC go together. And it's the options to shorten a quarantine due to COVID. And it says that you can do there's the original 14 days, but it states you can test on day 5, but then return on 7 if it's negative.
Ms. Bleimeister, your time has expired.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is item number 5. Any action is required for items from executive session. I'll hear a motion for out of district.
Mr. Chairperson, the matter of student number 1, I move that we grant the appeal.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan and a second from Ms. Littleton to grant the out of district appeal for student number 1. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 9-0. Motion carries. On student number 2 may I say that Dr. Wigfall has abstained from the voting. She was not privy to some of the information, so it was a 8-0.
In the matter of student number 2 for out-of-district appeals, I move that we defer the appeal pending further information.
Second.
I have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Mr. Ramsey to refer this out-of-district appeal to the administration for further review and then return to the board. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it by a vote of 8-0. We'll entertain motions for student number 1, the expulsion appeal of student number 1.
Mr. Chairperson, I move that we grant the appeal and allow student number 1 to attend virtual school for the remainder of the school year.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Ms. Littleton, to grant the appeal and to require the student number 1 the virtual option for the remainder of the year. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Nay. Motion carries by a vote of 7-1. The expulsion appeal of student number 2.
Mr. Chairperson, in the matter of student number 2, I move that we grant the appeal and assign the child to attend the alternative school on strict probation.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Ms. Marone, to grant the student number 2 appeal and to refer or to assign the student to the Berkeley Alternative School for the remainder of the year on strict probation. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay. There was 3.
There are 2 nays,
3 nays.
3 nays. The ayes have it by a vote of 5-3. Motion carries. And the expulsion of number...
How did you vote?
Pardon me?
In favor. She voted in favor.
Oh, she voted in favor. Okay. 6-3. Dr. Wigfall, did you vote on those?
I did not. I'm abstaining.
So it's 5-3. Okay, because Dr. Wigfall did abstain.
In the
And
matter
we
of
are now on expulsion number 3, is that correct?
That's correct. Mr.
Okay.
Chairperson, in the matter of student number 3, I move that we grant the appeal and allow the child to attend the alternative school.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. McQuillan, a second from Ms. Littleton for student number 3 to grant the appeal and refer or assign the student to the alternative school for the remainder of the year. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay.
Nay.
I think we'll do it by hand vote. All in favor of the motion respond by raising your hand.
And
Sally was
Sally's an aye.
Okay. Ms. Wofford, are you affirming this? Are you voting for this motion?
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Aye.
Okay. Raise your hands again, because I didn't. 1, 2, 3, 4.
5-3.
It's a vote. Okay, 5-4. And so the motion carries. All opposed, nay. Nay.
Nay.
Okay, so we have a vote of 5-3. The motion carries by a vote of 5-3. The last expulsion appeal of student number 4.
Mr. Chairperson, in the matter of student number 4, I move that we grant the appeal and assign the child to finish the school year at the virtual school.
Second.
Okay, Mr. McQuillan made the motion, a second from Ms. Marone. Is there any discussion? The motion was to grant the appeal and to assign the virtual instruction, is that correct?
Yep.
The student for virtual instruction for the remainder of the year. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Nay. Ayes have it by a vote of 6-2. The next item, I think that requires, that's all of the expulsion. The next items we have are coming out of executive session for some employee not appeals, but recommendations.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Miss Allison Thornley as the new principal of Marrington Middle School with a starting date of October 13th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Mr. Ramsey, to name Miss Allison Thornley as a new principal of Marrington Middle School with a start date of tomorrow, October 13th, 2021. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it unanimously by a vote of 9-0. Welcome and congratulations, Ms. Thornley. I'd like for you to introduce your family or your guests that are with you.
All right, so I have with me my husband, Chris. And we'll start with the little one. We have Bishop here, who's 3, Liv, who is almost 7, Ellis is 10, and then I have my mom and dad, Carol.
Let's get a group photo. Brian will get a group photo right there. Can Sally, you got it.
Everybody.
Okay, we're ready.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Jason Owens as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a starting date no later than November 20th, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, a second from Mr. Ramsey, to name Mr. Jason Owens as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a starting date of no later than November 20, 2021. Mr. Owens, please stand up, and if you have anybody with you, introduce them.
We didn't vote. We didn't vote. We didn't vote.
Oh, we haven't voted.
Let us vote. We need to vote.
Okay. We haven't voted, okay. Is there any discussion? Not y'all, us. So we'll call for the question. All in favor of the motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Unanimously, Mr. Owens. Okay.
My sister, who actually remembers you, you were her middle school assistant principal.
Fantastic. Very good.
Reverend Prescott. 32 years, 36 total.
Wow.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Let's get a picture.
Welcome home, Mr. Owens. We are excited to have you back at Berkeley High School. Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr.
You're taking pictures. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Welcome back home, Mr. Owens. He just left us last year from Berkeley High. Now he's coming back with a promotion. Isn't that great? So that's good. Ms. Wofford, you're up.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Ferdinand Cooper as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a starting date of November 1st, 2021.
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. Wofford, a second from Ms. Maroon, to name Ms. Ferdinand Cooper as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a start date of November 1st, 2021. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor of the motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries by a vote of 9-0. Mr. Cooper's not with us tonight, but we'll congratulate him anyway. And I think next is the superintendent's report. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. Chair. Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, members of the audience, cabinet. Thursday marks the end of the first grading period for this school year, and students will receive report cards that will be soon to follow. Our students and staff have worked extremely hard to overcome the obstacles before them this year, and they've been successful. And I look forward to all that they will continue to accomplish for the rest of this year. Now, later in the month, you will hear from the Division of Academics and Innovation regarding textbook adoptions. We are in the public review phase of the textbook adoption process. There are a variety of topics and titles that are up for adoption. These texts will be posted here in the boardroom through November 12th. So they're at the perimeter of the room. If you look around now, they'll be up there for review. If you'd like to review these textbooks, please contact the Office of Academics and Innovation to schedule a visit. I want to take a moment to congratulate the Stratford Knights women's golf team who captured their first ever 5A Region 7 golf title. Senior Chase Cool was named Region 7 Player of the Year, shooting a 77 on your home course.
Wow.
On
Nice.
the Crowfield Golf Course. Next week, the team will compete in the lower state tournament and will be joined by the Lady Stags of Berkeley High, who placed third at the region tournament.
Congratulations.
As our district continues to grow, continues to adjust and meet the demands of growth in our area, we're forced to assess our current use of resources and determine how can we get the most efficient use out of our facilities. During last month's meeting, we reviewed various scenarios, including proposed changes to grade configurations at 2 schools and attendance lines, and change in attendance lines impacting 9 schools. This presentation was led by one of our consultants. Since then, we have provided our communities with access to maps and a link to a draft attendance zone service, which includes the proposed changes. This information was sent via email and posted to our website. Additionally, we provided FAQs to help families better understand how these changes may impact their children. As we prepare to make the recommendation for changes to be implemented for the upcoming school year, we will host 3 opportunities for the public to review the proposed recommendations. October 21st will be at Berkeley Middle School. This drop-in will primarily focus on the grade configuration changes coupled with attendance lines for students at Berkeley Elementary and Berkeley Intermediate. These changes are proposed to transition the Berkeley Elementary School from pre-K through 2nd grade and Berkeley Intermediate School from 3rd grade to 5th grade, in both schools serving pre-K through 5th grade on both campuses. November 2nd, we'll be at Whitesville Elementary. This drop-in will primarily focus on students currently zoned for Foxbank Elementary, Cane Bay Middle, and Cane Bay High, who are proposed to join Whitesville Elementary, Berkeley Middle, and Berkeley High schools next August. November 8th, we will be at Macedonia Middle School. This drop-in will primarily focus on families who live north of the tail race and who are proposed to attend Bonner Elementary, Macedonia Middle, and Timberland High School in August of 2022. Each session will begin at 6 p.m., and reminders will be sent to each community regarding these events as we get closer. And finally, I'd like to take a moment to remind parents, or at least to inform parents, that Friday, October 15th, that's this Friday, is a scheduled teacher workday. Our staff will report to our buildings, but our students will not. So again, Friday is a scheduled teacher workday. Our staff will be in the buildings. Our students will not. It's a workday for all Berkeley County School District schools. And next week, report cards will go home next Thursday, October 21st. Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. I don't have any particular information to share this evening. Any other board members, as a tradition, I like to share this platform. If there's any other board members that have any ideas or any thoughts, any questions, concerns.
I would like to take a moment and ask the administration about our e-learning program. I know we haven't really utilized that this year due to the pandemic. But at this time, I'm wondering if we have thought about utilizing it prior to the Thanksgiving holiday or possibly right after Thanksgiving holiday. I think it would be beneficial to our students and our teachers. Our students could get some one-on-one time. You know, teachers can do small groups while students are working on other things. I think it'd be beneficial to our custodial staff to take some time to do some top-to-bottom cleaning again for us before we come back in after the Thanksgiving holiday. So just something I hope we're thinking about.
Yes, ma'am. That's a topic that staff and I actually, we've had some dialogue. We have some discussion about that. Originally, our e-learning program was a pilot. It's one of the things that helped us. We were more prepared than some other districts last year in March when we shut down for the rest of the year. We were actually scheduled to have an e-learning day on that Friday in March before we shut down for the rest of the year. And so originally it was for inclement weather days, a way to make up for inclement weather days or any other emergency that may occur. We've been informed that there may be a little bit more flexibility where we could assign some of those days. And so that's one of the things that we're still looking into at this point. If we're able to, I'd love to bring that back and have it for discussion as far as a recommendation to the board. But that is something that we're looking into, and we'll bring that information back.
Great, okay.
Any other members have any comments? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
So moved.
Second. I second it.
I have a motion from Ms. Tanner, a second from Mr. Wright. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question to adjourn. All in favor respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it by a vote of 9-0. This time, Ms. Littleton will have the Academics and Innovations Committee.
I am calling the Committee on Academics and Innovation to order. I declare there's a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. I move that we postpone this meeting until October 26th. What is the pleasure of the committee?
We need a second.
Second.
Okay,
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against, nay. Passes 3-0. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion's been made by Mr. Ramsey and second by Dr. Wigfall. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Nay. Passes 3-0.
Mr. McQuillan, the Finance and Capital Planning Committee.
I'm calling the Committee on Finance and Capital Planning to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present and that the notice has been given to the media pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. All in favor of approving the agenda, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Agenda is approved. First agenda item is out-of-state travel. Ms. Smith, you are recognized.
Good evening, Chairman McQuillan, board members, and Mr. Jackson. Administration is requesting approval for the out-of-state travel as presented.
So moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it, 3-0. The second agenda item is the quarterly finance update. Ms. Smith, you're recognized again. This item is for information only.
Thank you. This presentation is to provide the first quarter financial update of our budgeted $331.4 million in revenues in the general fund. We have received $39.1 million year-to-date as of September 30th, 2021. The majority of the revenue received is from state revenue. Of the $339 million in budgeted expenditures, we have expended $53.9 million and have $5.8 million encumbered. These charts show a comparison from the same time period from fiscal year '21 as fiscal year '22. Our state and local revenues are slightly higher than the same period last year, as expected. Our expenditures for purchased services are higher than the same period in the prior year, as well as salaries and benefits. Our expenditures for purchased services are higher, mainly due to last year we funded floaters out of CARES Act, which reduced the expenditures in the general fund, and salaries and benefits were expected to be higher than prior year as a result of the 2% increase in salaries and the increase in retirement contributions. The special revenue funds through 9/30 have revenue of $7.1 million and expenditures of $8.5. Keep in mind that our special revenue funds are federal funds, including Title I funds, all the title funds, CARES, and ESSER, which are on claim basis, which is the reason expenditures are higher than revenues. These amounts were included in the previous slide. However, I wanted to provide a breakdown of CARES and ESSER II spending to date. Of the total $6.8 million for CARES, we have $1.8 million remaining to spend. Through 9/30, we have expended $56,000 and have another $35,000 encumbered. This grant ends on September 30th, 2022. Our total ESSER II allocation is $32.2 million, and the grant expires September 30th, 2023. For the first quarter, we have spent $3.3 million and have $1.7 million encumbered. Our first claim for ESSER II is due on November the 15th. In regards to ESSER III, we have received a conditional approval as of last week. We have not expended any funds or have received any revenues for ESSER III to date. Our EIA revenue is $9.8 million for the first quarter, and expenditures are approximately $2.6 million. Our capital projects fund total budget is $75.2. We're still closing out fiscal year '21, but we do anticipate carry forward funds for capital to be $34 million. We received $40.9 million from the general obligation issuance in September. Expenditures are $4.5 million with $6.2 million encumbered. The $4.5 in expenditures include Cane Bay Middle and Sangaree Middle classroom additions, land acquisition, technology, roofing projects, middle school prototype, and district-wide maintenance. Total year-to-date impact fees received are $29,765, and there are no expenditures. Last year, we received $22,000 in impact fees, and that brings us to a total of $51,965 in total revenue. Child Nutrition has received $3.2 million in revenue. Expenditures are $2.9 million to date. Normally at this time of the year, we see expenditures over revenue. However, this year, Child Nutrition received a reimbursement from USDA for operational cost in the amount of $1.3 million. Are there any questions?
Ms. Smith, I know what the impact fee is, but some of our folks may or may not be aware of what that involves, and I don't remember seeing a slide to that effect in the past. Could you kind of clarify what the impact fees are and how they're collected?
Yes, sir. At closing, attorneys collect $1,850 per home, and they're submitted to the district for impact fees that we collect for future projects regarding renovations, et cetera. And it looks like Mr. Jackson would like to elaborate as well.
Well, no, I just wanted to make sure we clarify it's specific to
a Carnes Crossroads area, yes. Thank you.
So that's basically a collaborative effort with the developers.
Public-private relationship, public-private partnership. Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's a good way to go. And that will eventually be a larger amount, which will help us with the capital outlay. So that's good. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, we'll move to the third agenda item, which is appreciation incentives, school and administration. Ms. Smith, you are recognized again.
Thank you. In October of last year, the board approved COVID appreciation supplements for all schools to be used at the principal's discretion, subject to procurement requirements, for staff appreciation. This was well received and greatly appreciated by all of our principals, and we have had an overwhelming request for this benefit to be provided again this year. The total allocations for schools, using a very similar formula for the prior year, is $423,456. In addition, there has also been a request to extend the benefit to other departments in the district in the amount of $75,000. The total request for the COVID appreciation supplement is $498,456. A copy of the breakdown of the allocation was uploaded on board docs for your review.
Are these funds, they're basically covered by the increase in the amount of revenue that we've experienced?
Well, actually, I anticipated this question. So we did receive an additional reimbursement end of last year that will automatically roll into fund balance. The total amount was $497,162, and we normally receive 10 tax credit checks during the year. This year was an anomaly. We actually received 11, and the last payment was $497,162, which was not budgeted. So it's very close to the cost of this. We're off like $1,200 some dollars. So, and I'll be glad to share that email with you if you.
Thank you.
Need to see it.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the recommendation to approve appropriate funds for school and administration incentives as presented.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, I'm sorry.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Fourth agenda item is IFB 162122, window covering term contract. Ms. Smith, you're recognized again.
Thank you. This solicitation was conducted to replace an expiring term contract for the labor and materials to install specified window coverings in district schools and other facilities. The initial projects under this contract will be the new classroom additions at Cane Bay Middle and Sangaree Middle. The initial term will be for 1 year with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms awarded to Youngstown Shade and Aluminum for an estimated year 1 total of $20,000 and an estimated 5-year contract of $200,000.
I make a motion to approve the award of IFB 6152122 for window coverings to Youngstown Shade and Aluminum for an initial term of 1 year with an estimated annual value of $20,000 with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year contract terms for a potential term contract value of $200,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, 3-0. Point of personal privilege to those on Daniel Island who've written me emails about the janitorial services and issues at the school. I believe, Mr. Jackson, that'll be on the agenda for next month due to finishing up the procurement and bid process.
In addition, we have also done an emergency procurement to assist until we get a full contract in place.
Okay.
So that will be immediately.
Great, thank you.
Welcome.
At this time, any other committee members want to say anything? Why don't one of y'all say motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, we are adjourned.
I'm calling the Committee on Human Resources to order. I declare there is a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Lacey, just for noting purposes, Sally has dropped off, so it's Callie and I. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
And I second. We have a motion by Ms. Marone to approve the agenda, seconded by myself. All in favor of this motion respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion is approved unanimously. First agenda item is Policy ADF, District Wellness, second reading. Dr. Karen Whitley, you are recognized.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Jackson, and board members. I've asked Ms. Smith to join me on Policy ADF, District Wellness.
There has been one change to this policy after first reading. We have removed the sentence, "Schools will not use foods or beverages as rewards for academic performance or good behavior." Dr. Richardson obtained additional information from the South Carolina Department of Education, which allows leeway in this policy. According to the South Carolina Department of Education, this is the only area of the local wellness policy that USDA leaves the discretion up to the local districts. At schools, and quote, "Schools should make every effort to have non-competitive foods served. Classroom parties and performance rewards meet the nutrition standards established in the district's policy. When possible, foods and beverages for parties and celebrations will be provided by child nutrition to ensure that nutritious standards are met and to alleviate safety and allergy concerns. Shared classroom snacks are not permitted for safety and allergy concerns."
So just for clarification did you want to say something before I'm sorry, Dr. Whitley?
I'm sorry, I was just going to say, we're requesting second reading approval of policy ADF, district wellness.
Yes, ma'am. Let me do this correctly. Do I have a motion?
I want a little bit more clarification. I'm sorry.
Well, let's make a motion and then discuss. Do we have a motion?
Make the motion.
Sure, I can make the motion, I guess.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the second reading of policy ADF, district wellness, as presented.
And I second that. We have a motion by Ms. Barone and a second by myself, but let's discuss. So we both want to discuss it, apparently. So I want to clarify to parents watching that we cannot bring it inside. We cannot bring outside food inside to our schools, correct? And Benny's going to hate me. Am I allowed to bring this up? Okay. So I would like to clarify for parents that our food services is coming up with a program for you to, instead of purchasing from Publix or Little Caesars, they will help you to celebrate your child or the class, if you will, whatever it is. I'm actually extremely excited about this little postcard that was put up on the dais seat. Well, you were going to talk about it. Am I taking your thunder?
You're not stealing my thunder.
Okay, cool.
They're really cute.
Yeah, they are. They're adorable. It talks about an ice cream party and cookie platters and cakes and pizza party, and the prices are extremely, extremely reasonably affordable. And so I just want to clarify for parents that while it may feel frustrating that you can't bring in your cupcakes for little Susie's birthday, we can still celebrate, and Child Nutrition is willing to assist with that. So I'm sure more to come from that, but I did want to clarify. They also, will help with our schools with cookouts. I know when my child was at Westview, they did a fifth grade promotion cookout, best thing ever. Those kids look forward to it every year, and so Food and Nutrition is behind us on celebrating all of the celebrations that need to be had. So I just want to clarify. Your turn, ma'am.
Okay, no, I just wanted to clarify that we can still celebrate, like pizza parties, and our children can celebrate their birthdays in school and be able to have that type of celebrations, because I think that's very important. So I just wanted to make sure that we can still do that within our schools.
Okay. All in favor?
Can I?
Aye. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Your comment was, other than the one provision that we changed, everything else is absolutely required by the law.
That would be a question for Dr. Richardson.
Yeah, so we got to do it.
I think Dr. Richardson would be glad to clarify something for us, I hope.
I think his question was, is it mandatory? Yes.
I think does that answer your question, Ms. Include? So it's required by law, mandatory?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
Yes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The ayes have it unanimously. Moving on to our second agenda item. Policy EF, Food Services, second reading. Dr. Whitley, you're again recognized.
Thank you.
We are requesting second reading approval of policy EF, food services. Berkeley County School District Food Service Program, the Child Nutrition Services, operates under current guidelines and standards established by state and federal laws and the South Carolina Board of Education.
I motion to approve the second reading of policy EF, food services as presented.
I second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Third agenda item is policy EFR, food services, second reading. Dr. Whitley, it is you again, ma'am.
Thank you. We're requesting second reading approval of policy EF-R, food services. The purpose of this administrative rule is to ensure compliance with federal requirements for the USDA Child Nutrition Program and to provide oversight and accountability for the collection of outstanding student meal balances, surplus balances, and dissemination of procedures.
What is the pleasure of the committee?
I motion to approve the second reading of policy EFR, food services as presented.
Motion by Ms. Marone, second by Ms. Tanner. Sorry, I forgot to say second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. The ayes have it unanimously. Moving along to our fourth agenda item, it's the OSHA Safety and Security Update Fall 2021. Dr. Whitley, you're again recognized.
Thank you. OSHA and Safety and Security, under the leadership of Ms. Tina McCormick, and Emergency Management under the leadership of Mr. Tim Knight, are two departments under the Human Resources umbrella that work tirelessly to ensure a culture of safety for all stakeholders. The OSHA and Safety Department was created in January 2018 and has made great strides in ensuring that workplace safety is number one. During the 1920 school year, 1,450 hepatitis B series shots were received by our employees. In July 2020, Berkeley County School District Workers' Compensation Program became self-insured with current savings during the 2021 school year of $2.8 million. Safety protocols have been strengthened during this time. The Security and Emergency Management Department was created in September 2013. Priorities were to ensure a safe and secure environment for all district students, staff, and visitors, and prepare the school district to effectively respond to all emergencies that might affect safety or security of students and staff. This department has cultivated a strong working relationship with all the law enforcement agencies in the Tri-County area. Historically, school safety initiatives have addressed issues relating to bullying, vandalism, student fights, and weather-related emergencies. Our safety and emergency management team has also been instrumental in establishing protocols for emergencies and conducting drills, ensuring building security, and working with our community to reduce stakeholder anxiety. Berkeley County School District is so fortunate to have these talented individuals who are dedicated to the service and safety of all. I will turn the podium over to Ms. Tina McCormick, and she will be followed by Mr. Tim Knight.
Thank you, Dr. Whitley. Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Jackson, board members. This evening, I have an update on the OSHA Safety Department on workers' compensation as well as OSHA safety. OSHA Safety Department was created or established in 2018, first with Steve Brandenburg in January of 2018, and then myself in August of 2018. Along with the instruction of Dr. Whitley. Before I go any further, I would like to introduce you to my team members. If my team members would please stand. I have Susie Velaz, who's our safety specialist. I have Wendy Michelson, who is our OSHA safety clerk, and Karen
Hill, who is our OSHA admin. As you can see, the monthly workers' compensation number of claims have decreased since 2018. The claims comparison, if you look at the chart, in 2017, we had 199 injuries. 2018, we had 162. 2019, 144. And our first year as self-insured, 2020, at 129. Great news. So our number of employees have increased every year, but our injuries have decreased. If you look at the comparison in the cost from 2015, in comparison to our first year as self-insured for 2020, we're currently at $989,000. With a savings comparison compared to last year of 2.8. Now, we provide and always looking for the best care for our employees. We care about our employees. We want to make sure that they have the best physicians, the best specialists, everything that is available to them. We are always looking. So how are we reducing risk and hazards? Through safety committee meetings. We have established safety committee meetings at all of our district schools and locations. These committees are formed by leaders and employee representatives. Together, we can make a difference. We can eliminate hazards and the risk. We can make our place, our Berkeley County School District, a safer place. Under the workers' compensation, we have safety training, safe schools, online training. This is compliance training required by OSHA. We have monthly and annual OSHA safety training as well. Under workers' comp, we have the annual safety shoe program. We provide safety shoes for all of our safety-sensitive positions, such as maintenance, our child nutrition group, and our custodians. We want to make sure that we provide the compliant footwear. Under workers' compensation, we have a light duty program. We accommodate and provide guidelines for administering a modified duty protocol. And in conclusion, we have a hepatitis B vaccine program. Back in 2019, in order to become OSHA compliant, we budgeted $1.1 million to be OSHA compliant. In 2020, we provided the Hep B 3 series vaccines to 1,450 employees, and we did this within a year. We partnered with PEBA and Walgreens, and we were able to save the district approximately $1 million. And this concludes my report.
Thank you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Jackson, members of the board. It's my pleasure to bring this security update to you tonight. Thanks to this board's generous support, really appreciate your support, we were able to add 3 new SRO positions for this school year. This past spring, we implemented monthly Sro Supervisor Meetings, and as you know, we contract with 5 law enforcement agencies to provide SROs in our schools. These meetings have proven to be very beneficial, with bringing these agency leaders together to discuss current trends, school issues and concerns, and provides us an opportunity for networking and collaboration. We've begun the process of creating a school security training video library. And this video library is available to our administrators with the goal of them using this library to show and demonstrate to their respective teachers and staff members with district security and emergency procedures. Social media is a great tool that most of us utilize. However, there are many dangers associated that our students become involved in, which sometimes creates dangers for not only themselves, but for our schools as well. With this in mind, we are in the process of developing cutting-edge social media presentations designed for our parents to educate them in what our young people are susceptible to. These presentations will be delivered both in person and available in an online format. Each year, our schools conduct a combined 700 plus emergency drills. With the help from our technology department, we have created an online drill reporting program designed to streamline our drill reporting process. We saw last year that many of our parents were concerned with our COVID protocols and were rightfully worried that their children were going to be safe in our schools. With everything our SROs do on a daily basis, we wanted to remind our parents and stakeholders just how special they are to us. In an effort to show our appreciation for their hard work and dedication to protecting our students and staff members, we began highlighting a SRO each month via the district's website and social media platforms. It is important we remember our SROs are a critical piece of our overall security program and initiatives. We also have 2 new members in our office, Scott Cook and Sharitha Kinlaw Hickman. They bring over 50 years of experience to our office, and we are very excited to have them on board. And we also still have Brian Fenton with us as well. Can't forget about Brian. As you know, we conduct at least 2 large-scale crisis simulations every year. Before the Thanksgiving break, we will conduct an active shooter intruder drill at one of our schools. This spring, we will once again test our security measures and protocols at a particular school. It's like we always say, we can have physically secure campuses, but if our teachers and staff do not know how to respond to a variety of emergencies, then physical security means nothing. We use these training simulations to enforce our emergency procedures and ensure we are doing all we can the right way to keep our students and staff safe. This past summer, we hosted our 8th annual SRO Summer Training Program at Foxbank Elementary. This is a time where we all get to train and fellowship with our SROs and supervisors. Our focus training was in areas of active shooter, mental health, de-escalation techniques, and our SROs were all recertified in CPR and first aid. We had collaborative presentations from the Ninth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Tri-County Human Trafficking Task Force, Berkeley Mental Health, and other great organizations. As we look forward, we want to increase our engagement with our parents and our students. We have plans to conduct more parent engagement meetings where we can talk to our parents directly about what we're doing to protect our students in a variety of ways, and also give them tools to help protect their children as well. In conclusion, we want to keep our district in the state and national spotlight as a leader in school security. And we will continue to do all we can to keep safety and security our #1 priority.
Excellent.
Awesome, thank you so much. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned.
The October 26th meeting is at College Park Middle School, in case that you're not aware of that at this time. October 26th, College Park Middle School. Have a great night. Thank you.